So right now, the president's order is still blocked. It would deny citizenship to children born in the U.S. if their parents are here illegally. The 14th Amendment protects that right. But now some here in Georgia fear that protection could go away. 11 Alive's Joe Ripley joining us now tonight. So, Joe, you got reaction to this ruling. What does it mean for cases moving forward?
Yeah, Jennifer, no longer can district judges issue rulings that apply to the entire country. That's what the Supreme Court decided today. And some here in Georgia feel like it's a win for conservatism, and others feel as though their rights could soon disappear.
A shift toward greater power for the president. That's how Georgia GOP Chair Josh McCoon sees the latest Supreme Court ruling on federal injunctions.
But it's going to be much harder now to stop federal action, even federal executive action, nationwide.
The 6-3 ruling limits district court rulings to solely those involved in that particular case, as opposed to a blanket ruling.
And so I think the Supreme Court got it right today. But it definitely makes a big change for us going forward in terms of how federal authority will be challenged in court.
Emory University law professor Jonathan Nash says the law of automatic birthright citizenship here in the U.S. remains unchanged. But he says this Supreme Court ruling could pave the way for it to be challenged.
It's possible that we see this play out now in a bunch of smaller lawsuits, maybe state by state. Again, possibility of a nationwide class action.
That's exactly what Berenice Rodriguez is doing. The director of immigration rights group Georgia CASA is part of a class action lawsuit aiming to preserve U.S. citizenship for those born in the U.S. to immigrant parents.
The biggest fear here is that they will eventually give birth, and they don't know where their children will stand.
Several more cases are expected to be brought before the court on a notion currently enshrined in the U.S. Constitution.
So the Supreme Court is likely to rule on birthright citizenship eventually as more cases come up. Jennifer?
All right, Joe, thank you. And the Supreme Court's ruling also paves the way for President Trump to potentially end sanctuary city funding and suspend the country's refugee resettlement program as well.